Hello, and welcome back to Read No Grow. My name's Hayden, and this YouTube channel is based on self-development books and non-fiction books and giving you the best bits from those books. So we'll just get stuck into today's book, which is Manifest by Roxi Nafousi. And the book itself is just so lovely aesthetically. It's such a lovely little coffee table book. So what is manifesting? Roxi starts off with a definition to manifest, to make something happen. And the first paragraph is, manifesting is the ability to create the exact life that you want. It is the ability to draw in anything that you desire and become the author of your own story. It looks and feels like magic, and we are all magicians. Now, I'm a Harry Potter fan, so that is my kind of vibe. But I just love the fact that she's saying that we can design our own life, and she's going to tell us how with 7 steps. And she realized that a lot of people just thought manifesting was like, oh, isn't that when you just visualize something and it happens? But there's so much more to manifesting than that. It's not about just imagining something and then poof, it will happen and you're just waiting for it. You have to do the work to get there. It is a very active process. It's not a passive thing. You have to do things to get there. So this book kind of breaks that down. So she then goes into the science of manifestation, and the foundations of that are, if everything is made up of energy, and different physical matter is made up of either different vibrational frequencies and different densities of atoms. So then by the law of attraction, if like attracts like, then high frequency vibrations attract to it high frequency vibrations, and low frequency vibrations attract to it low frequency vibrations. So if our thoughts, feelings, and emotion have different energies, then we can change what we attract to us by changing what we give out. So a big part of manifesting is you can change the energy and the frequency you give out, then you can change the energy and frequency that come back to you, which in turn can change your reality. So examples of high vibe emotions would be love, joy, gratitude. Low vibe emotions would be fear, anger, resentment. So she refers to the universe as the source of power and magic behind your manifesting journey, but she says that you can change that for whatever word you want. Okay, so step 1, be clear on your vision. And I love this quote, everything is created twice, first in the mind and then in reality. So this chapter is all about visualization. So she starts off by saying how important visualizations are and how our mind can actually trick our bodies into an experience. So say if you're thinking about an exam, you can actually get quite stressed, tense, you can start to sweat, your hands get clammy, heart can start to race, just thinking of an exam. Your mind's just thinking about it and your body's actually having the reaction as if you're there. But equally, we can flip that and we can think of a nice, restorative, peaceful situation. Say if you're like meditating, or if you're just really relaxed or thinking of a really relaxed situation, your body can actually just calm itself as well. So we have the ability in our minds to change our physiological state sometimes. So if we can change our physiological state, we can change our vibrational frequency, and that means we can change what we attract to us. So she gives a really good example of Google Maps, and if you wanted to go to the airport, you wouldn't just type in airport, you would be very specific about which airport you wanted to go to. And getting your goals done and manifesting is a bit like that. You need to be specific in what you want. You need to tell the universe exactly what it is you want, so you can attract that back to you. It's also really important to know the feeling of what you want. So there's visualizing what you want, but also imagining the feeling of what it would feel like when you had it. So she gives an example of designing the house of your dreams. So you can picture how many windows it has, what color doors it has, how many bedrooms it's got, but also imagine feeling what it'd be like if you were actually stepping in the house, if you're walking through the rooms, if you were living in that house. Manifestation is about creating the feeling of what you want to attract as well. Because if our feelings have different vibrational frequencies, that has a really big effect on manifesting your goals as well. When you do this, you create feelings of joy, contentment, excitement, and these are all high vibe feelings. And if you are creating high vibe feelings and feeling that in yourself, then you're going to attract that feeling back to you. She then goes on to say that sometimes we don't exactly know what we want. You know, maybe we're in a place where we're feeling a bit torn, we're maybe a bit of a crossroads. We know how we want to feel about something. So you can manifest a feeling instead. If you don't know exactly what you want to visualize, so maybe you're not very good at visualizing like the house of your dreams, but you know how you would feel like when you get that. Then you could visualize the feeling of how you'd feel with the house instead of the details of the actual house. She also says that meditation is a really good way to kind of get in the zone of visualization, because you can kind of get into all the juicy details when you sit down and meditate. Kind of think about it as daydreaming, but with your eyes closed, and just get into sinking into all the juicy details of what you want your house, your job, your life in 5 years' time to look like. So she describes how to do your vision board. Step 2, remove fear and doubt. Fear and self-doubt have always been the greatest enemies of human potential, Brian Tracy. So in this section she talks about manifesting is not from our conscious thoughts alone, but from our subconscious thoughts. And we manifest what we believe we truly deserve. So if you don't believe you deserve X, Y, and Z, you're not going to get them. You have to train your subconscious to believe that you actually do deserve those things. So basically it means you have to do a bit of work. So apparently only 5% of our cognitive ability is conscious. So if the 95% that is subconscious is affecting our feelings, thoughts, emotions, decisions, perceptions, then that is a huge influence on our reality. So it's no wonder our subconscious has such a huge potential to affect our manifesting journey. And it's because it's home to two really big emotions, fear and doubt, which are huge blockers to your manifesting journey. And fear and doubt can show up in so many ways, like your limiting beliefs, your insecurities, your self-worth, and it can really even stop you from doing step 1, which is being clear on your vision. Because the thing is with fear and doubt is they're actually in a way trying to be your friends. They're trying to protect you, but they can protect you so much that they hold you back from your full potential. Say you go and do your vision board, you might just think, well, that's not realistic, I won't write that down. But this is your vision board. No one else is going to see this. This is just in your heart of hearts what you would love to happen if fear and doubt weren't any an option. If you could just be like a kid at Christmas and just think of anything you want, if fear and doubt weren't on the table, what would you write? But as adults, we just get so bombarded by our fears, doubts, and insecurities that we don't even write down what we truly want, even if no one else is going to see it, because we think it's not going to be achievable and realistic. And there was a really great analogy in another book that I read called Daring Greatly by Brene Brown. She used an analogy like, if you shine a light on your fears and doubts and insecurities and any shame you have, it's actually helping to draw light to that situation so you can work on it. And shining a light is actually a good thing to do. And if you don't shine a light on those things, then they can actually stay in the shadows and fester and lurk. Whereas if you shine a light on it, you're addressing it. So trying to address your fears and doubts is a really good way to try and tackle any limiting beliefs and blockers that you've got that are holding you back from the get-go in your manifestation journey. And my grandma always says this quote to me, if you miss the moon, you'll be amongst the stars. And it's like that with creating your vision board. You're just gonna aim for your North Star. And even if you don't get there, you don't know if you're not gonna get there, but if you embody that person who is trying to get to that North Star, think of all the things you could achieve on the way. But if you don't even aim for that North Star, you don't know what you could do. You don't know how far you could get if you don't try. So Roxi says, go back to step 1 if you feel that fear and doubt were blocking you the first time. Because if you want those things, you actually need to believe you're worthy of having those. And a lot of our limiting beliefs actually are an ongoing process. They'll come up again and again and you'll have to work through them. A lot of our limiting beliefs and insecurities are actually from our childhood. So if you've carried them all those years, they're not necessarily going to be a quick fix and you shine a light on them and you realize, oh, that's why I act this way. Some of them might need a lot more talking and a lot more work, a lot more journaling, professional help. But the thing is, even though it's really uncomfortable, unlocking those unlimiting beliefs has the power for your full potential. So what is a limiting belief? A belief is a thought that has been repeated again and again until it becomes automatic. So a belief that holds us back is a limiting belief. So for example, as a child, you were told that you were unlovable. So as you grow up, you are maybe drawn to relationships that support that limiting belief and go for more toxic relationships, or you accept being treated poorly by others. So she describes 4 ways in how we can help remove fear and doubt. And those are master your thoughts, watch your language, use mantras, and practice visualization. And she describes this section of fear and doubt as being one of the hardest because you have to kind of look internally and shine a light on all the things that you don't like about yourself and bring them to the forefront and ask yourself, why do you feel like that? And that's the only way that you can get past those things and become aware, is if you're actually like putting them to the forefront and questioning it. And it's really hard and it's really uncomfortable and it doesn't feel very nice initially, but actually the rewards for doing that are like tenfold. If you can just do that and break through that pain and discomfort of like looking and addressing all your insecurities, self-doubt, then the rewards are so great. Cultivating self-love. So this is still in fear and doubt, but it's kind of got its own section, because she says that self-love is the foundation from which manifesting is built from. Because self-love lets you sort of step into your greatness, your full potential. It says to the universe, I'm ready, I deserve this, let me have it. Because she says that without self-love, you cannot manifest. You cannot create a vision board because you don't truly believe that you deserve a partner who treats you right and respects you, or you deserve to be part of a community where you feel that you belong. And she says, what does self-love mean? And that can be a number of things, for championing yourself, being kind to yourself like you would do to others, and being your most authentic self, not letting negative self-talk or insecurities and self-beliefs put you down, and following your own well-being and happiness. And you can do those things by, she suggests loads of things like setting boundaries, getting more sleep, eating healthy, meditating, journaling, going to therapy, like prioritizing yourself. And she explains it in a way that it's all about choosing. It's all about the choices you make on the daily basis, like choosing how you're spending your time, choosing who you're spending your time with, choosing what like thoughts you let circulate around your head, choosing what your beliefs are. She says that it all matters, because it all reflects on who you believe you're worthy of. If you are surrounding yourself with people who are toxic, your self-worth is saying that you don't deserve more respect, and you do deserve more respect, and the universe knows you deserve more respect. So it's every choice you make reflects on what you feel you deserve. And she goes into how to begin to cultivate self-love. And number one is being aware and mindful. And to do that, you could be journaling or meditating. So instead of like flicking on the news and finding that you're getting anxious, maybe do something better for you. Is that something like going for a walk or journaling or whatever? And number two is honor where you are. She describes something from the 4 agreements, which I really like. And it's like, some days you're gonna have good days and better days or bad days, and it's about honoring that, because in the 4 agreements it says always do your best. That can look different depending if you're ill or if you're feeling really healthy. If you're not feeling great, then your best is going to look very different to the day when you are feeling great, when you've got lots of energy. But if you always do the best that you can on that day, then that removes the judgment that you feel, or at least tries to remove the judgment you feel on that day, because you still were just doing the best with what you could on that day. And number 3 is honoring where you want to be tomorrow. So if you think about the choices you're going to do today are going to impact the choices for your future person, for your future self. So say if you've got an essay to submit, but you get distracted by social media, you're dishonoring your future self, because that future self of yours is going to be stressed out trying to do that essay. If you honor your future self, you would put your phone away and try to get stuck into that essay before, because you're trying to do the best for your future self. The truth is this: by learning from your mistakes and experiences and by evolving through them, you practice the greatest form of self-love, which is to grow. So step 3 is aligning your behavior. So aligning your behaviors would be like, if you wanted to start your own business, you would have to align your behavior with that. So you'd maybe do a course, you would maybe start following people in that field, you would maybe try to get a mentor, you would maybe look at doing it as a little side hustle first. It's about getting outside your comfort zone and getting past the fear of failure, fear of embarrassment, or procrastination. You're just kind of getting out of the comfort zone and doing it, working through that discomfort. And she's got a phrase that she has that helps with her imposter syndrome. Instead of fake it till you make it, fake it until you become it. And essentially it's just taking that leap of faith and aligning your behaviors with the person who you want to become. So to do that, you have to embody that person. Just think about exactly what that person does. And she gives an example of like writing 5 things down that that person you want to be does. and then you try and do that, and that will help you to get to where you want to be. Because aligning your behaviors says to the universe, I'm scared, I don't like stepping out my comfort zone, but I'm gonna feel the fear and do it anyway. Let's do this. You're saying to the universe, yeah, I got this. Let's go. Let's give this a go. So in your journey, you'll be presented by tests from the universe that will stop you from progressing further. And these will come in the form of obstacles, challenges, people, or settling for less. So an example of this would maybe be if you were dating and you were getting on really well with someone, but they were blowing hot and cold. This could be a test as, do you stay with this person who's not being very respectful to you? And you stay with them even though you know you deserve better. If you stay with them, then you're actually blocking your manifesting journey because you're being driven by a place of fear and doubt, thinking that, well, I better stay with them because what if I don't find anyone else? But by staying with them, you're actually stopping yourself from finding a person who does respect you more and you deserve better. But say, for example, you've left a toxic relationship, you're on the road, you're doing good things, you're looking after yourself, you're doing self-love, but then you get back with the ex and you know you shouldn't because you know they don't treat you right, but you get back with them anyway. Does that mean you failed the test? So Roxi said the universe isn't out to punish you. Even if you've got back with them, the universe isn't going to punish you. The universe is on your side. It's just waiting for you to see the light kind of thing. She talks about like the scarcity versus the abundance mindset. So scarcity mindset is thinking that there isn't enough out there for everyone. We can maybe settle for less if we've got a scarcity mindset rather than an abundance mindset. So a scarcity mindset is believing that there isn't enough love, success, happiness to go around, where an abundance mindset is one that you believe that there's enough for everyone. It would be like, say, if you were shopping for jeans and you tried on a pair of jeans and it just didn't fit you. You wouldn't be devastated and think that is the only pair of jeans out there. You would just pop them back on the shelf and go hunting for more because you know there's a lot out there. It's that having that kind of same mindset, even if you're like applying for a job and you've got your idea of what your dream job looks like and you're doing all the things waiting for your dream job. But another very good offer comes along and it's just believing that actually, even though that job's good, it's not quite what you want. It's not quite the salary, or it's not quite where you want, or it's not quite with the people or the team you want to be with. Do you settle for less and go for that? Or do you believe that actually, if you wait, that your dream job is coming, if you keep doing all the steps and all the things, that you will get there? But quite often we settle for less because we're impatient and we just feel like, oh, I've been doing all these things, why hasn't it happened yet? It will happen, you just have to have trust that it will. And sometimes things don't always go our way first time, and these come in the form of obstacles. So say you have been working really, really hard for that job and you go for the interview and someone else gets it, and maybe it's someone who you don't even think actually maybe deserves that as much as you. Are you gonna let that strip away all the good things you've done on the lead up to that job, all the research that you've done, all the studying that you've done for that job? Because maybe that job actually wasn't really for you. Maybe the universe knows that you deserve better than the dream job, and that job that you didn't get, well, that interview process still actually really set you up for the dream job that you were meant to get. Sometimes when things are falling apart, they are really falling into place. And Roxi says that we actually have the power to choose what we take from a situation. Are we going to view that as a rejection or a redirection? What lessons have we learned from that situation that we can use to put forward? And I love this quote, sometimes you win and sometimes you learn. If you look at tests from the universe as just a redirection, then that can take away some of the stress and anxiety of when is it going to happen? If you just know that it will, and then that was just an obstacle that you overcame, and think of it as like a win instead of like as a loss, then it sort of changes your mindset that, you know, you're just a little bit closer to where you want to be. Step 5 is embrace gratitude without caveats. So if the universe doesn't actually hear our thoughts, but it just picks up on our vibrational frequencies, and that's affected by our thoughts, feelings, and emotions, then how we're feeling will affect on what we attract back to us. So if we're feeling emotions like anger, jealousy, then those aren't very high vibe emotions. Those are very low vibe emotions, and we're gonna attract back more low vibe things that are more low vibe to us. But the thing is, we can't be high vibe all the time. We're gonna be in low moods. We're gonna wake up and we're just gonna be a bit grumpy and just feeling a bit crap, and things don't always go our way, and it's hard to feel optimistic and positive all the freaking time. And it's okay to feel a bit crap. And it's okay to feel a bit sad and to like honor those feelings and to digest them and process them. But what do we do if we're feeling really overwhelmed by them and we're wanting to try and get out of that slump? We can use gratitude to help us climb up that kind of emotional ladder again. And gratitude is defined as a feeling of appreciation, and it is very high vibe. And Roxi sort of discusses 3 categories that you can use gratitude: gratitude for self, gratitude for life, and gratitude for the world. So that could be like, for myself, I'm really grateful that I've got my eyes that I can see. For life, I'm really grateful that I've got a job to go to tomorrow. And for the world, for the sea really close to my house. But that's why she has 3 different categories, because if you're feeling a bit crap about yourself, at least you can think about something grateful about life, about the moon that's shining outside or the birds that are singing. You can use the gratitude on something else. And then she goes on to say how quite often we can live in a scarcity mindset again, how we'll be happy when we have this. And we are always coming from a place of lack, and we're not being really grateful for what we have. And to manifest successfully, you need to be grateful for what you have, but also have a clear vision of what you want. So it's trying to find that sweet spot. Because to attract more beauty, love, and abundance in your life, you have to be grateful for the beauty and love and abundance that are already in your life. And the thing is, we have to try and cultivate an attitude of gratitude, because it's so easy to think of all the negatives that have happened. Like, think about of your day. You tend to come home and report all the crap things that happen, like, oh my God, the traffic was so bad, or, oh, this person said this to me. Like, how often do you come in and be like, I got away from work early, and this happened and this happened? You don't tend to focus on the positive, you tend to report the negative. And that's just a habit, and like any habit, you can change that. And journaling is a really good way to do this. So either by like getting up in the morning and writing several things that you're grateful for, or you could do like a positivity journal, and you can write maybe at the end of the day all the little things that you were grateful for. Because there'll be so many small, beautiful moments in the day that have passed you by that you've not really thought about, because you're so used to homing in on the negative instead of the positive. And it sort of rewires your brain to like look out for the good instead of looking out for the bad. And step 6 is turning envy into inspiration. And this is probably one of my favorite steps. And she describes envy as a feeling of discontent or resentful longing aroused by someone else's possessions. This is a very low vibe, scarcity mindset type of emotion. Describes inspiration as a sudden feeling of enthusiasm or a new idea that helps you to do or create something. And this is a very high vibe, abundance mindset. And changing from envy to inspiration, you're saying that there's enough of this to go around, and I believe I can have some of it too. And everyone can kind of feel envy in different ways. So how I felt envy is like a kind of feeling in the pit of your stomach, or like a tightness in your chest. Maybe when you're going through social media and you see someone and you think, oh, I wish I had that, or jealous of someone and you wish you had that. And social media is so bad for it, because you can quite often leave social media feeling a bit worse than when you started scrolling in the first place, because you're bombarded by all these perfect pictures and these stage photos of how people want you to see their life. And I quite like this quote: social media is a playground for comparison and a fertile land for envy to grow. But she goes on to say that maybe asking yourself why you feel a bit crap, maybe also asking yourself like maybe why you're triggered by certain content. You know, is it content of someone super confident and you're like, oh, she's just so arrogant, but actually you're just jealous of her confidence and you wish you were a bit more confident. You wish that you could post a picture of that outfit, but you're just not brave enough to wear that outfit. And you actually feel really insecure. And then that's why people can lash out and be quite nasty on the internet, is because they're actually projecting their own insecurities. They actually wish that they could wear that dress, or they actually wish that they had that house. And that's why a lot of people can be quite negative, is because it's actually they're just quite triggered because it's their own insecurities that they're reflecting. And she talks about how that envy turns into judgment and it turns into lashing out. But if we were to self-reflect, then we could help break that cycle and help break that cycle of the trolls that are on the internet. Prevent yourself from saying something you maybe don't mean to a friend or a colleague just because it's a reflection of your insecurities. And then the key for being aware of it, then you can turn that envy into inspiration. So inspiration is the antithesis of envy. It's you saying that there's enough instead of there isn't enough and switching it. So say that maybe your friend gets married. Instead of feeling, oh, I'm behind, I should be here on my journey, you can be like, I'm really happy for them and I can't wait until I'm married or I'm in that situation. And you're replacing them with positive feelings, and positive feelings for your future that one day you could actually have that too. And that's actually something to really look forward to instead of something to feel like envy and jealousy to your friend. And then she has a little exercise on the end about turning envy into inspiration. And number 1 is being aware of it. Number 2, removing the shame and judgment. It's okay to have those feelings, so give yourself kindness, love, and compassion for them, but try and use those feelings and those triggers in a positive way. Like, how can you make a change? And how can you then change your vibe from a low vibe envy to high vibe inspiration? And also just remember, if you're judging someone, asking yourself why you're judging them. Is it from a place of fear and doubt? Is it from your own insecurities that you're doing that from? Ask yourself, what is it they possess that you desire? And then use that opportunity, if you feel jealous, to use it as a way to be inspired. And step 7 is trust in the universe. So after you've done all those steps, the last step is trusting in the universe that it will happen. And it's kind of like having this knowing feeling, like this delicious anticipation that it will happen. You just don't quite know when. And she uses the analogy of Google Maps again, and that manifesting and the universe is the software and computer program behind the app. So if we've typed in airport, we need to trust that Google Maps is going to get us there, that it's going to suggest the most optimal route, and that if we take a wrong turn, it's going to put us back on track. So we have to let Google Maps do its job. We have to trust that Google Maps is going to get us to the airport. And that is the final step, believing in the manifesting process, believing in the Google Maps is going to get us there. It's like if you were house hunting, you could start feeling really worried and anxious that you're never going to get the house of your dreams. But if you just kind of surrender to the universe and believe this is going to happen, then it takes that worry and stress. So when a house falls through, you're like, it's okay, it wasn't the house for us. Our house is out there, and that was just an obstacle, and that there's another direction for you. And a big thing that gets in the way of step 7 is impatience. And we kind of get in our own way and we just want it yesterday. But we have to believe what's for us isn't going to go by us. And that's a real kind of Scottish phrase. What's for you won't go by you. And trust that it's happening for a reason. It might not be exactly as you planned, but it's happening for a reason. And that is part of the magic in manifesting, is that you do your work and you have to let the universe do its work. Trust is the glue that holds the steps of manifesting together. And that is it, guys. That is 7 steps to manifesting your best life. I just love this because I feel like it's self-development in action, but also like there's just so many good bits in it, and it just covers so many things that I definitely struggle with. So it's such a good, concise book to like fall back on. And it's 150 pages. It's got exercises in it. She dots it through with like little stories about herself. So no surprise, I really enjoyed this book. You'll probably hear me say that a lot, guys, because I see books as relationships. Like, you can have a horrible relationship and have got out of it, but it still taught you something. There were still lessons learned. So even if I've read a book that is maybe not my favorite, I've still learned something from it. So I never feel like I'll ever give a really awful review, because I've always learned something from any book I've read. But this is one of my favorite books. So I would give this book 5 stars. It is one of my faves. I'm intrigued to dive deeper. I'm wondering if it's going to have a lot more information or if it's going to be like a bit similar to this one. So I'll let you guys know, and let me know what you think. Let me know if you've gone to any of Roxi's like workshops or anything like that. I would like to do something like that, so I'm just intrigued if any of you have already done it. And also, if you comment below, you do get a chance to win a copy of this week's book. So thanks so much, guys. Take care. Bye. So she then goes into the science of vibration. Science of vibration. Board is to get down and to get down to. So number 2 is watch your language and but self-love is taking authority over that drive for instant satisfaction. Jesus. Fake it until you become it. And that's and she's, yeah.